It was morning, precisely 5:45. A young man comes home from a night shift expecting nothing more than quiet. The smell hits him before he can take a second step inside. Sharp, chemical, unmistakable. He looks down. There is a towel stuffed deliberately under the rear door. A few feet away, a single candle burns in the dark. Someone is already inside the apartment. Someone who had been told not long before this moment to leave and never come back. That person does not run when the son walks in. He steps forward. He looks at this young man who just worked through the night to come home to his mother, and he says four words that will fracture this family permanently. She's not responding. This is not the story of a crime that was hidden. This is the story of a crime that was documented, announced, and ignored, one social media post at a time, for nearly an entire year before a candle was ever lit in the dark. If this is your first time here, welcome to Obsidian Echoes, where we dive in real-life crime stories and tell the tale. Please like, share, and subscribe. Carolyn Jones grew up on Chicago's West Side, near Garfield Park. It is the kind of neighborhood that does not produce people who give up easily. She didn't. She built her adult life the way people build things when nobody hands them anything, slowly, deliberately, with full awareness that the only person reliably showing up for her was herself. She worked for the United States Postal Service. Rain, snow, the kind of Chicago wind that makes February feel personal. She showed up. Every single day she showed up. While doing that, she raised two sons on her own, a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old who, by every account from everyone who knew her, were the center of her entire world. And if the job and the boys weren't enough, Carolyn had enrolled in a certified nursing assistant program, 2 years deep into studying after full work shifts, 2 years of sacrifice built on top of sacrifice, because she had decided her current circumstances were not her ceiling. She was not waiting for her life to change. She was changing it. Her family described her in the way people describe someone they genuinely cannot imagine the world without. Her uncle said she was the go-to for the whole family. Her older sister, Renee, said she had a heart of gold. Her son, King, in his own words, on his own social media, called her his mom, his role model, his health care provider, and his everything. Carolyn Jones was 41 years old, and she was, by every measure available, a woman in motion. She was not waiting for love. She was not waiting for anything. She was building. And in 2020, while she was doing exactly that, Brandon Jones entered her life. Nothing about him announced itself as dangerous. His social media presence was built on humor, jokes about Chicago, jokes about relationships, the kind of content that reads as ordinary and unthreatening. He had children of his own. He presented as a regular person moving through regular life. What he also was persistent. Carolyn kept her walls up. He kept showing up anyway. He kept reaching out. He kept turning on whatever it was that eventually worked, because eventually it did work. Her walls came down. Messages became dates. Dates became something more serious. And in 2020, Carolyn Jones and Brandon Jones stood at an altar and made promises to each other in front of the people they loved. From the outside, what followed looked like life: vacations, candlelit dinners, anniversary posts that generated comments calling them relationship goals. 6 years together, nearly 5 years of marriage, a public record that looked solid. But public records and private realities are two entirely different things. And what was happening just outside the frame of every smiling photograph was something else entirely. In the public eyes, it was a dream come true. In private, it was hell on earth. Carolyn had been posting on her social media. A lot of people thought she was just posting a message, but nobody knew she was indirectly posting her reality in her marital affair. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment where you are watching from. Carolyn Jones did not leave a diary. She did not sit down with a journalist. She did not file a report or call a hotline. But she did leave a record, and it was sitting in plain sight on her Facebook page for anyone who cared to read it carefully enough. December 31st, 2024, New Year's Eve. While everyone around her was posting champagne glasses and countdown timers, Carolyn posted something different. All men cheat. You can't spell cheat without he. People laughed. People dropped laughing emojis and kept scrolling. Nobody asked if she was okay. February 2025. While still legally married to Carolyn, Brandon publicly posted a newborn baby on social media and claimed the child as his own. No explanation, no apology, no acknowledgement that her wife existed. He posted it the way someone posts something they do not believe requires justification. April 6, 2025. Carolyn posted about divorce, about emotional suffocation, about what it feels like to pour yourself into someone who leaves you feeling empty. People scrolled past. May 25th, she went further. She wrote about loving someone who never properly loved her back, about running out of patience. That is not a vague post. That is a specific confession from a specific woman about a specific situation. May 25th, she posted an anniversary message. 6 years together, almost 5 years married. A smile for the camera. The last time she performed the illusion for a public audience. By August 21st, she was no longer performing. She wrote that men lie so much they will get married and tell you it was an all-white party. Sharp, direct, aimed at one person. October 10th, 4 words. The wait is over. October 11th, she wrote that men are too used to women chasing them, that some people are not worth that energy anymore. Read those posts in order, December through October. That is not a woman venting at random. That is a woman marking her exit, publicly, incrementally, one post at a time. She was telling everyone around her what was happening to her. Every month she was telling them, and the people around her kept scrolling. At some point between those posts and the end of October, Carolyn Jones made a decision, a clear decision, a final one. She told Brandon to leave, not as a negotiating tactic, not as an ultimatum designed to bring him back, as a conclusion. She removed him from her home on the 6800 block of South Calumet Avenue and reclaimed the space that was supposed to be hers. And then she kept going. CNA training, her sons, her peace, the future she had been quietly building while everything around her was falling apart. She did not collapse. She did not beg. She redirected. And at some point after that, she opened her heart again. She met someone new. Someone who, by all accounts from people who knew her, made her genuinely happy. Happy enough to post about it. She made it public on Facebook. A photo, a kiss, proof that Carolyn Jones was not just surviving, she was living. Brandon saw the post. According to her sister Renee, he attempted to have the photo removed. Sit with that for a moment. This is the same man who posted a newborn child fathered outside his marriage while still wearing Carolyn's ring. The same man who offered no apology and no accountability throughout the course of their marriage. That man could not tolerate a single photograph of his estranged wife being happy without him. He did not want her back. What he wanted was for no one else to have her either. And that distinction is exactly where this story stops being about a failing marriage and becomes something far darker. Because what followed was not impulsive. It was not the product of a single bad night. It was the product of planning, and it played out while Carolyn Jones was still alive and still posting. The last thing Carolyn Jones put on social media was a joke about Thanksgiving, a light post, completely in character. She wrote that not everyone was made to cook, and some people were simply born to stand in the kitchen and talk to whoever could. That was the last thing she gave the world. After that, silence. No memes, no quotes, no check-ins, no morning posts. For a woman who had been consistently active and vocal online for the better part of a year, the silence was immediate and total. People who followed her noticed, family noticed, but before anyone could make sense of the quiet, the truth arrived in the worst way possible. November 26, 2025, Thanksgiving Day. At 5:45 in the morning, Carolyn's son came home from his night shift to the apartment on South Calumet Avenue. He smelled gas before he was fully inside. He saw the towel at the base of the rear door. He saw the candle burning in the dark. And before he could process any of it, Brandon stepped out of the interior of the apartment and told his mother was not responding. What happened next is something no child should ever have to experience. Carolyn's 2 sons, her boys, the young men she had given everything to, helped carry their own mother's body out of their own bedroom. Brandon did not call 911. He put Carolyn in his vehicle and drove to the University of Chicago Medical Center himself. She was pronounced dead on arrival. The Thanksgiving Day autopsy established the cause of death as strangulation. Her death was ruled a homicide. There is one additional detail from the autopsy that makes the full reality of what Carolyn endured in her final moments impossible to read without stopping. Carolyn had asthma. Her final moments were not fast, they were not merciful, they were prolonged. Brandon did not only take her life, he made her sons carry her out of her own bedroom. Carolyn's body was not yet cold when Brandon Jones opened Facebook and began constructing a narrative. The very next day, he posted publicly,